then you yourself could rise.
What keeps you going?
I think the refusal to accept my current reality. I think that's really what it is. We talked about it a little bit beforehand, but I'm not satisfied with the world that's been presented to me yet. I feel like I was dealt a hand of cards and given this backstory that that was given to me for the sake of overcoming it. You know what I mean? I think my story is going to be one of triumph and of one of overcoming these obstacles with the disadvantages that so many people have between mental stuff, physical stuff, between the upbringing, poverty, racial shit, everything combined, and I could still get this far. So I don't want to abandon that story. I always think about the end. Like when I'm sitting on my deathbed and I look back on my life, I want to say like, yo, I did that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be that person that has regrets. So I think that's what keeps me going, even through like the misery, and even at times where I feel like quitting, there's so much. That's why when I get on platforms like this, I talk about stuff like this, because I go on the internet and search for people who say things like this, who are successful, because it makes me feel like, yo, like though I'm feeling this deep turmoil and incredible self-doubt because of years of being just put down, this person went through that too, and they still made it and believed in themselves.
You know that the average individual will not believe or can't fathom what you've been through. Yes. Because they think, well, you're a son of a legend. You had a wonderful life.
Oh, no.
I don't think they understand what you've been through. Like, your life might have been worse than some of the people who think you should have this wonderful life.
I don't know much people, and I'm not saying it out of pity or anything like that. Like, I've never asked for pity. Like, but out of all I've been the brokest out of all my friends. I was the only homeless one out of all my friends. I was the one and massive misconceptions. People used to walk, and it sucks when you're poor and you have nothing, and people think that you have it all. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's even what, like, I'd rather you just think I was poor, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because that misconception, and then on top of that, you got to understand, like, people don't treat celebrities like humans. Like, natural human interactions don't apply. Like, you know, if you I'm not even gonna say you, but if someone had a parent that just passed, you wouldn't normally go up to them and bombard them with questions about their dead parent. You know what I'm saying? Like, we weren't allowed to mourn his loss because of just the
constant, still living it. It's like he almost never died.
And it's the constant.
But he's not here.
And it's weird. And then people wanting to fight, or people coming up at me thinking I'm an asshole, or people, and then I had to learn when I was 5 years old, the difference between real and fake friends, people who wanted to be around me just because of who my dad was as a 5-year-old. You know what I mean? Damn. And then just between all that and then figuring out, and then just this perspective of you that's so different than what you actually feel on the inside, and navigating through that throughout the world. It's weird while you're also dealing with all the things that poor people go through and minorities go through, and you know, so it's been difficult, you know. And then so basically, while he was alive, my perspective of life while he was alive, and I don't mean to say that it wasn't, I do have good memories, but most of the memories that I have are of abuse or of craziness or just things that I was trying to fathom as a child, but it didn't feel good. And then right after that, it was weird, bittersweet. He died. So now we had this dude that was doing all this crazy shit to us. He died though. And now it's like, all right, but where's my dad? Like, he was also my father, and then after that he was the breadwinner as well. So now it's like, all right, so this is gone, but now it's replaced by poverty. You know what I'm saying? So dealing with that, and then growing up, and then trying to pursue this, and then it's been ridiculous, and then having depression and navigating that, being a kid, and it's a lot. And I think everyone goes through this, and I think that people think that when you're the child of a celebrity, or when you are the child of a legend, and people are just ignorant of how music game works. People think that I could just hit up like anybody right now and get a collab. People's like, yo, just collab with J. Cole. I'm like, yo, bro, not only do I not have the hundreds of thousands of dollars for a feature, I also don't have the notoriety or the to hit him up that it makes sense business wise for him to do a feature with me. Like
where you're using your name and not your father's name.
Yeah, well, or even if I was, because it's one of those things. It's like, you know, I'm not ignorant to business. You know, a lot of people are ignorant to the business side of it. People see what you put out, not what you put.
You don't have a self-entitlement.
I don't have self-entitlement. Okay, I have zero.
And growing up poor humbled you to say, I really have to get.
I really ain't. I ain't.
Yeah.
Like I had a moment, like I had my lowest moment in because I still to this day have depression, but I had a really, really low moments when I was in high school. I remember I was 15 years old. The girl I was with was cheating on me. I was in a shelter. I was homeless. I felt really fat and out of shape. And my boy's telling me like, yo, just come to the public pool. I'm like, I don't really want to go. I feel crazy. He's like, nah, just come. So I went, and they on the other side. I remember vividly. I got out the pool. I'm walking, and there's a group of like some 3 hot chicks walking towards me. And as they walk by, they all just break down, pointing at me and start laughing. And it's already, I'm feeling the lowest point in my life. And that just hit me to like a complete rock bottom of self-esteem. And
15?
Like, yeah, I was 15 years old. I'm homeless. I'm homeless. I've been broke my whole life. I'm fat. I have no self-worth. I talk down on myself to make myself believe that the things that are happening to me make sense. Like I tell myself, like, yo, bro, look at myself in the mirror and give myself anti-affirmations just to cope with life. Like, yo, you ain't shit. You're worth nothing, and that's why this is why your life is like this. Just to cope. And then I got to that point. After I hit that rock bottom, I started realizing the reasons I feel lowly about myself is because of everyone else's opinions of me, and it's not reflecting what I should feel towards me. So at that point, that's when I started focusing more on how can I change my self view? How could I negate what everybody else
How can I look in the mirror and not
love
say
that person?
You're a piece of
and love that person. I started giving myself affirmations. I started working out. I started reading more, empowering myself, surrounding myself with people who was on that same state of mind. I started eating better. I started doing the things you do to climb out of this hole. You know what I'm saying? But it's an everyday choice, a choice you got to make constantly, every moment, not once a day, but multiple times a day to say, I'm going to decide to be happy. You know
Did you know he was going through this?
Certain things. I mean, I knew my kids were going through all of it, being a parent. Being a mom without,
because you was going through,
being a mom without being able to supply a house and not be able to supply as a parent should a lot of resource for them. It was extremely hard for me, and knowing that they were going through that and being homeless. So yeah, I knew there was a lot of stuff that he was going through. He doesn't talk a lot about things. Because it's not, Chris will not talk about certain things, or you can ask him, he'll shut down. So it's
to this day?
To this day is the way
or it comes out in the raps. I
listen to a lot of his music to know who he is.
You learn.
Honestly,
I'm more of a... I'm the person everyone goes to for advice.
Yeah, I go to him for advice.
I don't ask for advice. I'm the person everyone goes to.
Who's the psychiatrist? I always ask that.
Yeah. Who looks after the strong people? You know what I'm saying? So it's
so
like,
even though so I go for him for advice.
So it's one of those things, and I'm a big. I have this sense of it makes it harder for myself. I think I gotta do everything by myself.
You're the healer.
Yeah, and I gotta heal myself. If these wounds are self-inflicted, I should be able to heal myself.
You sound like Damn, you sound like me.
But everything that he was going through, we were all going through it.
Yeah.
But you know what though? Even for myself, I was the youngest. You know, my mother died when I was 2 years old, and I was the youngest. And it's like now I'm the older younger brother.
Right.
I talk to my older brothers and sisters, and they come to me and say, "What do you think about this?" And I be like this, and a lot of stuff that I've been through. I suffered from depression. I think. Depression never goes away.
Depression
you learn how to cope.
Yeah, you know how to cope with it, and you're not. Some days are better than others. Mm-hmm. But I also did a podcast before telling people don't fall into the cycle of anxiety and depression.
That's right.
If you're having a bad day, you're not depressed. You're having a bad day.
Exactly.
Depression is when you really think about killing yourself.
I think it's a state of hopelessness.
Yeah. Where you just say, you know what?
I'm done.
I'd rather just be dead.
And
right. I'm gonna kill somebody else.
Right. And
it don't have to always end up because I've been depressed for years, and I don't really think I'm gonna kill myself. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that really keeps me alive because I have 3 kids. Now,
all right,
kids, I probably would have killed myself.
Exactly, but that's what kept you going.
Yeah,
you think about a 15-year-old. He don't have no kids.
I can't leave them.
How do you break up with yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you know what?
Because like if I'm miserable in a relationship, I could leave that relationship.
But you was 15.
But you're miserable with you. Yeah, I'm 15, but I always thought I already went through a lot. 15. I mean, even at a young age, like you gotta understand. Like I was paying bills when I was 8 years old. I was making sure we had stuff. Like my father, when I was a small child, I remember vividly him telling me like, when I die, it's your responsibility as the only boy to take care of your family. This was something very powerful that he instilled into me on a constant basis. So after he passed, I was 6 years old, but I had this responsibility that I needed to take care of my family. And at 8 years old, I was paying bills. I was making sure that we had it. After that fell through, I from the age of 8, even to this day, I have this immense guilt that my family went through what we went through. That as the only boy, I was
because you couldn't provide.
Yeah, I couldn't provide, and I couldn't protect them. You get what I mean? I've seen my mother shed tears for years off of shit that people did. Like that if I didn't have to think logically to know that I needed to make strategic moves in order to assure that in the future that we're okay, I would have killed already.
Yeah,
you get what I mean? So
you.
It's like that level of frustration and responsibility that I put on myself for years, just weighing down and realizing the powerlessness, and that powerlessness trickles back to being a kid of child abuse, where this same person telling me that you need to protect them is the same person abusing them. I felt powerless. Then after while he was alive, after he died, I felt powerless, and then my life kept reinforcing the powerlessness that I was unable to change it because I didn't have the resources yet. I'm 25 now, and I'm just now acquiring. Yeah, right. And I'm just now acquiring the mental state and the tools that I need in order to finally feel like, you know what, I understand enough now to know that I'm getting to a point where I could really be the person that I was supposed to be.
You know what's funny? I would like to, after this interview, stay in more contact with you.
I would love that.
What you're going through, I went through too, in so many different ways. The difference was my father was a crackhead. He started smoking crack when crack first hit.
Right.
That shit is rough.
Yeah.
Because it's nobody's trauma greater. Because I hate when people do that.
No, it's not a
you
contest.
don't know what I went through.
Yeah,
people do that shit.
Yo,
to
they
you.
was like, I'm more sad than you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, bro.
Yeah, Hey, make sure you subscribe to Doggie Diamonds No Filter podcast on iTunes. The link is in the description box. Also, leave a comment and rate the podcast. Thank you.